Hey everyone, don't you need a little encouragement? I mean, I think we all do. So I could either play this or you could watch what we've prepared for you to keep you encouraged this week, which I think is probably a better idea. So stay tuned. Here it comes. Welcome everyone.
At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called a child whom he put among them and said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me."
Separates me from my wrong, as far as this is from the west. guys. One of the feelings that I feel like a lot of people are experiencing right now is frustration. Kind of disoriented frustration. And not even knowing why. Like, look, I'm at home with my kids and we're hanging out. Why am I so frustrated all the time? Or why don't I have any peace? And I've been thinking about this a lot. I think there are probably a lot of reasons. There are a lot of really good reasons right now why we feel those things. But I think one of the really good reasons that we feel disorientedly frustrated right now, a lack of peace, is because we don't have any control anymore. We're kind of used to living a life where we decide where we go, when we go there, if we want to meet somebody for coffee, if we want to play a basketball game at the gym, if we want to hang out with friends, go to the movies, whatever. We're used to being able to go and do that. For some people, it takes a babysitter. But once you got that babysitter, you got a lot of control. You can go do a lot of things. And right now, we don't have any of that. Right now, we're kind of, on our fourth day in the same pair of sweatpants, staring at the pantry going, what are we going to eat? What are we going to do? To me, it sounds a lot like our kids sound, like all of our kids. That thing that kids do where they're just like every single day, what are we going to do today? What's the plan? What are we going to do tonight? What are we going to eat for dinner? What are we going to eat for lunch? Just these questions that, sometimes can be kind of frustrating. You're like, why are you always asking me what we're going to eat or what we're going to do? Go do something. But I was thinking about this, and we have this experience a lot with Jack, with our 11-year-old. He's always asking those questions. And, it's easy to be like, dude, why are you always asking me those questions? But he's got a really good reason to ask all those questions, which is he doesn't have any money or a job or a car. He can't go anywhere without someone taking him. He's not going to eat anything without somebody buying the food and making it. He's got no car, he's got no cash, he's got no choices, he's got no control. And so he's asking those questions, and it's a completely reasonable thing to do. I remember right after I graduated high school, I had been enrolled in the University of Tennessee, and they had this like overnight orientation you would do during the summer before the fall semester began. And you would go and kind of go to some classes and go on a tour, and then you would actually stay overnight in a dorm room with some random other person in your orientation class to be your kind of roommate for the night. And we had done all these, orientation whatevers, tours and stuff like that. And they had like a dance party at the Stokely, gym or whatever. And we kind of got back to our dorm room. It was like 10:45 p.m. And I'm thinking, okay, it's time to go to bed. And this dude, this random roommate, I don't even remember what his name is now. He was like, all right, I met some people. We're going to go out to Cumberland Avenue. We're going to go hit Taco Bell. Do you want to come? And I was thinking, the very first thought I had was, we can't go to Taco Bell. It's 10:45 p.m. It's time for bed. We've got orientation meetings in the morning. That was my first thought. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. I'm all grown up. Like, I'm here at this college and I'm in this dorm room. I can do whatever I want. Like, I can ruin tomorrow if I want to by staying up all night. So that's what we did. We left the dorm room. We hit the Taco Bell. We hit some other places. We were up till like 3 a.m. The next day was terrible. And I realized this sense of freedom. Like, I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. It was just this taste of being in control. And ever since then, within reason, I kind of decide my schedule, decide where I want to go and decide what I want to eat and all that kind of stuff. And now here we are in the middle of this thing. And it's like I have to be an 11-year-old again with no car and no cash and no choices and no food in the pantry. What are we going to do tonight? What are we going to eat? And I think for a lot of us, our lack of peace, our increased disorientation and frustration comes from just this thing. Lack of control. And I feel in some ways like a kid again. It doesn't feel good. And yet Jesus said, unless you change and become like a little child, you can never enter the kingdom of heaven. It was in Matthew chapter 18. And his disciples just straight up asked him, Lord, who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus, there was a lot of people around, and Jesus grabs a little kid and kind of puts the little kid up on his lap. And little kid's probably just like picking at Jesus's face and everything, pulling his hair and stuff and hugging him and everything. And Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven belongs to little kids like this one. And unless you change and become like this little child, you can never enter. The entrance exam into the kingdom of heaven is surrender. Jesus paid for us to take our place and to take our wrong and our blame and our guilt and our shame and our sin off of us. And what we have to give up is the right to run our own life. We take the trade that he's offering, the free gift of bearing our sin and our wrong, and we surrender our ability to control everything in our lives. And we say, I wasn't good at controlling my own life. When I did control my own life, I ran it into a tree. I ran it into a ditch. Lord, you take my life. You've taken my place. You've taken my wrong and my sin. Now take my whole life. I'm turning over control to you. Surrender is how we get in. And maybe during this time, this confusing and disorientating time, he's asking us to do that again. Like little children, to wait, to ask, and to trust, to surrender our control over everything, to learn how to rest in the peace of letting somebody else run the show. One of the things that I love so much is when we would have our kids in the car on a long car trip, and they would just kind of, nestle down into their seat, in the back seat, all buckled up, not knowing where we're going or how we're going to get there, not worried about the directions or, which highway we're going to take or the Google Maps rerouting, not worrying about any of that, just kind of trusting us to get them there, eating whatever we bought them at the convenience store when we stopped for gas, and trusting. I would love to look back in that rearview mirror and to see them asleep in the back seat. And maybe we are being invited into a time like that, where we wait, we trust, we ask for what we need, and we trust him to get us there. I mean, when this is all over and we get to go wherever we want to and everything again, I'm going to be right there with everybody else. It'll be like that scripture that says, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go back to Gallo Loco and smash on some chips and queso. The scripture's not exactly like that, but you know what I mean. I'm going to be so pumped to get all of that control back. And yet, at the end of this, I hope that I have a little more peace and a little more trust. And that I, like a little kid, can rest in the back seat, just fall asleep, and let him drive, and let him feed me, let him take care of me. I was thinking about roller coasters and how they have that little ruler outside a roller coaster that says, you must be at least this tall to ride the ride. And with the kingdom of heaven, it's kind of the opposite. You must be smaller than this to enjoy the ride. There's a joy and a peace that comes from being a little kid, trusting him and waiting and resting in his choices, in his decisions. My hope for myself and my hope for you as well is that we'll come out of this on the other side, trusting, waiting, asking, a little bit more than maybe we did before, a little bit more like kids. Thanks, guys.
fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, the arms never fail. Oh, the arms never fail. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near.